regardless of what buildings may on the appearance separate us, when it comes to an idea that's stronger than anything, than all the armies of the world, and it being the idea of what we really know in our hearts, is that that idea is unity. I love what you said, that as a Muslim, how unity had further expanded your heart. Thank you for that. Let's give you a very big hand. Touch my soul. Because when we look at all the cries from the news today, when we look at separation, when we look at murder, when we look at violence, we look at addiction, we look at homes that are separate, there's one answer, and that answer is unity. It is the answer that all of us know, that when we do not spend our time within ourselves as communities feeling divided, that when we're out preaching the good gospel, we know that unity is the answer that the world is longing for. Can we agree upon that? I had the good pleasure, like our beloved Carol Hunt. I'm in tears today as I see you. As I was introduced to you, I was trying to remember how many years ago it was by Higginson and Ken Wydrow. I just know that both of us had solid hair then. And, you know, I know it's been that long. And I know that I gathered in a room with a few people willing to be on the board, and they all had these big looks in their eyes. Their eyes were real big, going, how do we grow this thing in Harlem? And I remember the first time that I actually came, or second time I came to speak in one of the locations, there was about 13 people there. And 3 people I invited to come because I was visiting here in the city. And now you look out here today at what has been accomplished by the power of God, the power for good. Isn't that amazing? You know, and I can feel that celebratory spirit within all of you. We feel that great joy. I know that we're happy to see so many people here today, and I'm sure that you're also happy that you have this many ministers in the room, and this service is actually going to finish on the same day it started. Can I get an amen on that? I mean, let's be real. I could see it with some of y'all, really. If you saw how many ministers you were speaking, you all went into prayer. Like, oh my goodness. But we were talking earlier, Carol, at the Red Rooster, about how proud we are of you. You did it. You really did it, girl. Yes, you did. I'd like to read from Khalil Gibran. No person can reveal to you aught but that which already lies half asleep in the dawning of your knowledge. The teacher who walks in the shadow of the temple among her followers gives not of her wisdom, but rather of her faith and her lovingness. If she is indeed wise, she does not bid you enter into the house of her wisdom, but rather leads you to the threshold of her and your own mind. Carol Hunt is a phenomenal teacher that holds the space. When we think about just her name, Carol Hunt, Carol, as Dr. Gaither alluded to earlier, means strength. She's strong. A bearer of that name would be John Paul II. His name was Carol. Carol is strong. She stands steadfast in knowing that Unity of Harlem will be the largest community here in Harlem. She holds that vision. And her other part of her name is to hunt. And that is for her to seek within you what you don't know about yourself yet. And that is what a great leader does. Is a great leader has the capacity to look within your sacred dwelling place, that Christ presence, and to see and know something about you that you're still working with another dimension of understanding who you are. And she hunts that part of your beingness and supports you in finding your own answers that you may grow into that. And so part of what I have the privilege to do today is to empower you by giving you the charge as the congregation. The best thing that you can do for your now newly ordained, the beloved Rev Carol Hunt, is to allow her the space and the freedom to really express what her true talents are. And what that entails is that when we look at the statement, united we stand, divided we are merely a distraction. When a minister is distracted with how are we going to pay the bills, when a minister is distracted with how are we going to grow the community, when the minister is distracted of how to market or how to do PR, all of these other capacities get in the way of a minister really doing ministry, which is to be able to stand in the presence of the Christ, the indwelling energy, and hold the space of what is potentially possible for the community. Do we all agree with that? And so when you are in this community and you hear yourself asking the question, why won't the minister stand outside and greet people coming in and out of the door? Just take it to yourself. Why don't I stand outside and greet the people coming out of the door? When you hear yourself thinking, why doesn't the minister create a bigger newsletter and promote things in the community? Then take it to, why don't I get a team of people together and look at doing some type of newsletter in order for us to grow? So anytime there's a question mark, why doesn't the minister do? Take it within your own inner being and into prayer. What can we do to support our minister? Does that work for you? Because that keeps her free to be into that presence of the energy of God and to support with a high vibration. What we know about Carol is that she carries the gift not only as a teacher, but most importantly, as I always tell people, the greatest gift a minister can offer is to be a student. And for us to continue to learn and grow and not get inundated with all the business, the administrative, all the other elements that it takes to run a community. It's a calling. As my teacher told me, if there's anything you can ever do other than ministry, go do it. Because it is a calling for us to share. And so I'm likened to the story of the monastery. It was dilapidating, it was falling apart, and the abbot went up on the mountain to seek counsel. And he said to the elder, please help me. I don't know what to do. Please help me. And he said, well, let's have a cup of tea. So they have a cup of tea, and as the abbot's getting ready to leave, he said, but sir, you didn't tell me what I can do. You didn't tell me what I can do for the monastery. And the wise man looked at him and said, one of you is the Christ. One of you is the Christ. And so the abbot, he gets kind of invigorated. He gets kind of energized. And he starts running down the mountain. And he starts thinking, who is that? Who is the Christ there at Unity of Harlem? Who is it? Is it Leroy? Is it Bob? Is it Marie? Who is the Christ? Who is it? And all of a sudden, the energy changed within the community. And the vibration became so big. And everybody started talking about the community. And it started growing because all of us were seeking that indwelling Christ Spirit. That is what is happening here. That is what is coming together here. Is that there is an energy that can no longer contain itself, that is spreading deep and wide right here in this community, and that the truth may prevail, that the Christ Spirit is within each of you. Thank you for inviting me here and honoring me with this deep invitation. I am so grateful.